Okay, guys. Ready? Ready for another one? I'm scared, actually, of those. Those scare me. Okay, we can do this. Ready? Are you guys ready? Welcome. Ready? Yes? Let's go.
Daniel O'Neill is a YouTuber from the UK with a channel called English Woodsman, where he's been uploading videos of his wild camping, stealth camping, and woodland camping trips in the UK for almost 10 years.
Let's go.
Most of the channel's videos feature Daniel reviewing camping gear for his viewers and showing footage of his adventures in the great outdoors.
Wholesome.
For the most part, they're pretty tame, but in August 2023, he uploaded a video of his camping trip in the woodlands close to his home, and the footage is pretty disturbing. The first part of the video pretty much just shows Daniel walking through the woods and talking to his subscribers, eating.
That's actually such wholesome content. I will never get over this. This is such wholesome content, man. It's just a dude sharing his hobby. I really like that. And getting sponsored for it, if he does get sponsored for the gear reviews. If not, he's just literally sharing his passions, you know. I hope he gets sponsored. I hope he gets sponsored. I hope dude is doing very well. I wish him the best.
Berries and pointing out the sights on the way to the campsite. At several points along the way, he pauses to mention the footprints and
Camping
garbage he
channels
sees
are
lying on the trail,
underrated.
indicating
I really
other
love
people
them.
had been there in the last few days.
Someone's been here. There's a lot of rubbish around here.
Rubbish. Don't leave your rubbish behind.
Yeah, look at the state of this.
Don't do that.
Does
Oh,
get
come
used,
on.
doesn't it?
After about a 20-minute walk, he sits down at a clearing where he plans to set up camp for the night and leans back on a tree to eat his noodles as he talks to the camera. It's not until around 25 minutes into the video that things start to get seriously disturbing for Daniel.
I'm going to be out Friday night, but I'm going away Saturday, so I've got a bit of a drive as well, so I didn't want to be tired, and it's going to throw it down Friday night as well. And rain camping is really good.
Yeah, during the day too. During the day? No.
Is that a badger?
A badger!
Hello?
It sounds like 2 feet. It sounds very close.
Even though some pretty human-like footsteps could be heard right behind Daniel, as soon as he turns around to scan his environment, there's nobody in sight.
Welcome.
What's most disturbing is that as soon as he turned around and yelled hello, the footsteps immediately stopped.
There's no bears in the UK, right? No way are there bears in the UK. No, there's not. See? There's not many places in Europe with bears. We don't have bears here. No, see? It can't be a bear. Weird. It sounded like 2 feet.
For the next few minutes, he sits down and tries to regain his composure as he sips his coffee and eats his noodles, but things only continue to get even more creepy as the sun begins to set.
Bro, in the middle of the day,
There's that noise again now.
when it's still light out.
Hello? Hello?
When it's still light.
You got to better hear that. There's nobody here.
About 40 minutes into the video, the footstep noises can be heard again, and this time it sounds like they're getting closer to Daniel. By this point,
yeah,
most
he has a
people
good
would have
weapon
hightailed
with
it
the
out of there
boiling
without any
water.
hesitation, but Daniel decides to sit back down to finish his dinner as he tries to calm his nerves for the second time. Amazingly, a few minutes later, it almost seems like he completely forgets about the footsteps and manages to think about less disturbing things,
The
which
balls.
is honestly pretty impressive. But as darkness sets in, the eerie footsteps start up again.
I'm not doing that. He's not even having a tent.
I'm going to be honest. I can't stay here now. I'm going to be a wimp. I don't care if people call me a wimp in the comments.
No, I wouldn't stare. Nobody's going to call
Can't
you
stay
wimp.
here. I'm too unsettled.
No, you get out of there.
I'm nervous. I've done camping like this load of times.
Camping is supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun, you get out of there. If you have a bad feeling, if your gut feeling is telling you no, you get out of there. This is not about being a strong man. No, camping is fun. It's a hobby. It's not. It's survival instinct is real. Yes, you get out of there. Get out of there. It's not worth it.
I think
Nobody's
I'm
going to
go
call you
find
wimp.
somewhere
You're
else
very
to
real
get
for
booby
this.
set up. But I'm leaving this spot.
Understandably, after this
Aw.
third incident, Daniel decides to head somewhere else for the night to play it safe.
Yes.
It's hard to know what exactly was making those sounds, but because they sounded very similar to human footsteps, it's possible that
It did
Daniel was
sound
being
like two
stalked by
legs.
someone in the woods. This is obviously incredibly dangerous, as you can never really trust someone's intentions when you're in such a vulnerable position, all by yourself in unknown territory.
Yeah, listen to him, guys.
It was either that or an animal walking through the grass, but because Daniel mentioned the grass was a little wet and wouldn't have made that dry sound if an animal stepped on it, this is pretty unlikely. Also, many people in the comments mentioned that no animal walks that uniform and steady. They stop, go, and change pace constantly. Either way, it's a good thing he decided to leave,
Yes.
because who knows what could have happened to Daniel that night.
Bro,
Range is part of a front range of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, made up of almost entirely public land within the Pike National Forest. In the summer, you'll find lots of bikers enjoying the rampant range's
Let's
elaborate
go.
trail system and exploring the great outdoors. For the most part, this part of Colorado is a paradise for anyone who enjoys spending time in nature. But over the past few years, there's been a pretty alarming trend on the rise, with random people setting up wires on trees at just about head height in an effort to seriously injure bikers on the trail.
That's
In
so
2019,
bad.
a post describing this
What?
terrifying trend was uploaded to Facebook. And disturbingly, the uploader mentioned that one of his high school
That's
friends
so
had lost his
fucked up.
life as a result of running into a similar wire on a trail. Immediately, people
God.
jumped into the comments to point out how incredibly messed up it would be to
I
do
hate
something like
people
this, and how
sometimes
this kind of
so
evil
much.
needs to be categorized as attempted murder if the suspects are ever caught.
That is
A couple
yes.
of years before
That is attempted murder. You do it with the thought of harming someone. That is like pre-planned. That's literally pre-planned, thought out. That's so messed up.
that post was made, in 2017, two motorbike riders uploaded a video to YouTube of their encounter with a similar wire, and although nothing happened to them, it was a very close call.
Bro. That's so bad. At least it seemed loose on one side. Oh god, but it's still so bad. You don't... That's insane.
When these wires are set up off-trail, it can be hard to tell whether they were placed there out of malice or if a random camper or farmer placed the wires there to hang up clothes or something similar. But in cases like these where the wires are specifically placed on the trail, there's really only one reason people would do that, and that's to
Yeah.
bring serious harm to bikers for some reason.
Not on trail.
Possibly
like, what the
they're
fuck?
annoyed with the constant loud sound of the bikes near their property or something else. But hopefully more measures can be taken in the future to
That's
prevent more people from
sick.
getting
This
hurt,
is sick.
especially because it's not uncommon to hear about
Sick
motorbikers and
people.
snowmobilers losing their lives over this kind of stuff. This audio was uploaded to YouTube by a user named
Sick
Forest
people.
Fire number 21. He recorded it around 2 a.m. in December 2014. The uploader lives in a forest, and he mentioned that the noises in the audio were coming from deep in the woods behind his house.
No, no.
It's hard to make out what the child is yelling, but after listening
I'm
closely,
not
several users jumped in the
sure.
comments to
It
point
could
out that
be
you
an
can also
animal.
hear an adult voice yelling, "Where are you?"
Welcome. It could be... like, this could be maybe a cat? Like a bobcat or something? Just maybe? Question mark? I don't know, man.
In addition to the young female voice making most of the noise, this quieter, more subtle male voice that can also be heard in the audio only makes the whole incident that much more disturbing.
It sounded more... You know, we had other voices that didn't sound animal-like at all. This one, like, animals can sound very human-like, especially, like, the high voices and stuff like that. Like, some cats, bobcats, stuff like that can sound very, like... It's like when a cat sometimes sounds like a screaming baby, kind of like that. It does happen.
Into the video, the uploader mentions that after that night, he checked the news every day to see if he could find some explanation for the screams, but he never did. The fact that the screaming was captured at around 2 a.m. in the freezing cold weather and in the middle of the woods indicates that the uploader could have genuinely recorded something pretty sinister taking place that night.
That's scary.
It's hard to tell why the uploader would record and upload the audio instead of immediately calling the police after hearing a female voice in such obvious distress, but at this point there's not much that can be done about it. And who knows, maybe the uploader did call the police.
I would be unsure too.
There wasn't much context given in the video's description. We can only hope that whatever problem happened that night was eventually solved, but based on the shrillness of the screams and the strangeness of the whole situation, we probably won't ever be able to know for sure. Lisa is a life coach and YouTuber who often uploads videos of what it's like living in her van and traveling the country on her own.
Hi, Lisa.
One afternoon in 2020,
she's insane for that. Doing that as a woman, insanity.
Lisa had parked her van on the side of the road and left the side door of her van open while she cooked her dinner inside, when suddenly a sketchy-looking guy approached her, poked his head in her van without her permission, and started asking her some pretty bizarre questions in French, a language Lisa doesn't speak. When she mentioned she didn't understand what he was saying, he pulled out a translator app to try to communicate with her, which obviously made her pretty uncomfortable, especially—
See, you don't. See, weirdos pulling up on you as a woman, it's already scary as a man, don't get me wrong, it's already fucking scary, but bro, not at all.
Especially since she wasn't interested in talking to him in the first place after he invaded her personal space.
See, just sticking your head into a van of another person, invading personal space, and then not getting the social cues of not annoying that person if they feel uncomfortable, you already know that's someone you don't want to interact with. They're not getting your social cues. That's probably, it's not, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person, but it also makes it more likely that they don't respect your private space, and that makes it very bad.
After watching the guy struggle to use Google Translate for a few minutes, Lisa decided she'd had enough and shut the side door in his face, also closing the curtain to make sure the guy got the hint. Strangely, for over half an hour, the guy then stood outside in the rain and tinkered with the translator app to try to communicate with Lisa, even after she made it more than obvious that she wanted nothing to do with him.
Bro, Why is he in the rain? What is he doing there? What is he doing?
Okay, he just moved even closer so that I can't move out and so that I can't go forward.
Now he's trapping her in? What the fuck? She cannot drive, he's trapping her.
Please leave, you sketchy.
Yeah, he trapped her.
Sketchy person. Please leave.
Oh my god. Welcome. He was in the rain for 30 minutes?
With a very shady demeanor, the man snuck into the bushes and pretty much just stalked Lisa from a distance, as if he thought she couldn't see him. As the sun began to set, Lisa kept an eye on the guy outside to make sure he didn't try to get close to her again. But the man just kept on bringing his car closer to her van and blocking her exit in different ways for more than half an hour.
Bro,
It's really starting to freak me out. It's been like a half an hour and he just keeps on moving his vehicle so he can see in my van here. Anyways, I know.
That's sick. That's
It's 7 o'clock.
sick individual, man.
Fortunately, just as darkness had begun to set in, a family in an RV pulled up right behind Lisa and spent the night in the same parking lot as her, which comforted her enough to stay there the entire evening. Disturbingly, the guy left soon after the other family arrived, but came back about 3 hours later in the dead of night to check if Lisa was still there.
Not good.
When he saw the other family in the RV was also still in the parking lot, he left and didn't come back.
Good.
The next morning, Lisa left early and never saw the guy again.
Good.
It's hard to tell what the guy's exact intentions
Bro,
were, but based on his overall
came
sketchy
back.
demeanor and questionable behavior, they couldn't have been anything good.
Bro, he came
The one
back.
thing we can be sure about is that it's a good thing the other family in the RV arrived at the parking lot when they did. Otherwise, who knows what the man would have done to Lisa.
Bro, scary. Sayas, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you. Bro, that's creepy as fuck. No way. That's scary behavior. I mean, the problem is you cannot really report him because he didn't do anything. That's scary. Because, oh yeah, ads in 1 minute and 20 seconds. We're going to watch the last part after the ads so nobody misses anything. You won't miss stuff. Don't worry about it, guys. I always pause. But the fact that he didn't really do anything, like, the police will not take a report on that usually, which is super sad because he was just sitting on the parking lot, right? And he was just standing there, and he was trying to communicate, and then he wasn't anymore, and then, you know, it's, thank you so much. It's like, you cannot do anything against that, sadly. The fact that he came back at night, but it is a public place, he can come back. And then he can say stuff like, oh yeah, I thought I lost something there. I thought I dropped my wallet or some shit like that. They literally need to do harm before the police does anything, which is super fucked up.
In May 2014, an Imager user uploaded a blog post where he talked about the time he went to
what?
visit a
Oh,
friend in
Imager.
northern Germany. According to the uploader, his friend told him about these pipes that he had found in the woods near his house that stuck up out of the ground like periscopes.
What happened?
Apparently, his friend and his siblings played near the pipes as kids and knew that there were bunkers hidden below them, but their parents never allowed them to get near them out of concern for their safety. During the visit narrated in the blog post, the uploader and his friend decided to check out the pipes and finally go down into the bunkers that they never had permission to explore when they were younger, and they found some pretty disturbing stuff. A few hundred feet away from the trees, they found the entrance to the bunker covered with a loosely placed piece of wood that they easily removed with a crowbar. Once inside, all they could see were these long, seemingly endless, hospital-like hallways that extended for thousands of feet under the woods. As they ventured further and further into the maze of tunnels, they found graffiti on some of the walls, indicating they weren't the first people to get the idea to explore the underground bunkers.
That's fucking creepy.
To the explorers' horror, one of the walls deep inside the tunnels had the word "help" in German graffitied all over it. It's possible that it was just
That's a prank. Graffiti like this is mostly a prank.
sprayed on there by another group of teens trying to be
That's a
funny,
prank.
but the eerie nature of the bunker coupled with the general state of disarray really makes you wonder if something more sinister took place down there at some point, possibly.
If it's a war bunker, it had many people scared in there. If it was a war bunker, welcome to hide from bombings and stuff. Yeah, there were scared peoples in there. That was probably the most scary thing that happened, is terrified people.
Even written by German soldiers in the later parts of World War II. As they traveled deeper into the bunker, they found some more disturbing graffiti, with one of the eeriest messages reading, "Hello Satan, I love you."
That's just teenagers doing graffiti. Stuff like that is everywhere in Germany. And yes, we have bunkers like that and randomly in places. It's just bloody goths. That's just teenagers being little bitches, you know? That's normal. You find that shit everywhere. Teenagers are spooky though. Teenagers do scare the living shit out of me. Wink. If you get the reference. Welcome! Hallo Satan, ich liebe dich. It's really not. Yeah, it's just welcome. It's just a German war bunker, probably from hiding from bombings.
Obviously, that's
hiding
not the
from
kind of
bombings,
message you want to
stuff
see in a
like
tunnel
that.
system like this, but the two friends decided to keep on exploring anyway. After several hours down in the bunker, they ended up finding tons of more twisting, winding hallways, flooded rooms with old machines, and dark, narrow corridors that reached dead ends.
That looks really cool though. This corner looks really cool. I like that
But
one.
nothing more disturbing than the graffiti they had found a few hours earlier. The explorers managed to make it out of there safely and didn't go back there again.
You can even see the crooked handwriting of those teens that did the graffiti, you know? It's like, it's not scary font or scary handwriting. It's like literally it's just teenagers graffitiing stuff. It's not that deep.
In the summer of 2016, reports started surfacing that people were finding dangerous booby traps along a very well-known hiking trail in the High Mountain Park Preserve in Wayne, New Jersey. As per the
Why
police
do people
reports,
do
the traps
that?
mostly consisted of boards with nails sticking out of them, barbed wire, broken bottles placed along the trails behind or near rocks or logs, and other treacherous materials. As more and more complaints started coming in,
Why would
police
someone
warned
do
people to keep an
that?
eye out for the traps and even organized cleanup efforts to keep hikers safe during their treks. What's most disturbing is that these traps were clearly placed there to hurt people, as there's really no other reason to put nails and barbed wire on the ground in the middle of
Yes.
such a popular hiking trail.
Yes.
The fact that someone would take the time to get out on the trail, build a booby trap in such detail, and place it there with the intention to do harm to other people and their pets.
Why people do this shit? Because they're deranged human beings. It's like people that put out like poison traps for dogs and stuff like that. They're just mean, evil people. Just evil people. Like straight up, just evil. They don't belong into society. They belong locked up. Because if they cannot live in a society with other people and animals, they need to be locked up. They're evil. Straight up. They try to harm others. That's not normal.
Is honestly
That's
pretty
not
messed
normal.
up.
Trying
but
to
it
harm
didn't take
others,
the cops too
not
long to make an
normal, no.
educated guess as to who was behind the whole thing. Although they never found the individual suspects responsible for placing the traps on the trail, the sheriff's department determined that the traps had probably something to do with the feud between hikers and bikers who had been fighting over use of the trail for decades. According to many nearby residents, it's common for bikers on the trail to speed past the hikers without ringing their bells or announcing their presence, which has led to several injuries and rising tensions between the two groups over the years. Still, it's hard to imagine that someone would take the issue to the point of trying to harm an entire group of people so maliciously with such brutal methods. Fortunately, no one was
Evil
hurt as a
beings.
result of the traps, but the suspects responsible were never found.
Humans are the worst. They're the worst. If I'm scared of one thing, it's humans. Humans scare me the most. More than any ghost ever could. Seriously. More than any ghost ever could scare me. Welcome, a human scares me 10 times as much, if not more. Humans suck, watch VTubers instead. Yeah, VTubers are better. They're not human. Do I look human to you? I don't think so.